Yeah,
Is that-
I can hear.
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my connection or other people's connection or.
You're fine now. Try one more time.
Yeah, it just sounded like everything was very garbled. Like there was
Okay.
a lot of interference.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I don't know. I said that you could sit on the hide if you really wanted.
Right, now I got that. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So unfortunately, I totally forgot to record all of that introduction. So I've started recording now. So when you get the class record back, you will just miss my introduction of the exercise, but you get to see everyone doing it. Do any of my working spots have questions about how the exercise is going to work?
Well, I came in a little bit late, so I just wondered if I need to show you my room or something, or are you just going to do that when it's time for me to work?
Yeah, so I don't need to see it. I've been looking at everyone's setups if they have their camera pointed to it. All I'm going to have you guys do right now is pick a corner in your room and set a hide deep in the corner.
Okay.
Just one hide?
Yeah, just one hide. We're going to start simple, just one hide.
Okay.
So I can put it on an object, right?
You can put it on an object. You can put it not on an object. You can put it however you want. Just it needs to be in a corner, and there needs to be a chair somewhere set up that you're going to sit and not move.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael,
Yes.
here,
It's a corner.
my chair.
Perfect.
Can you see me in my room right now?
No, it looks totally black, like something's blocking the camera. There you go. And now, maybe it was your finger blocking the camera or something.
Okay. Is that,
Yep, that's much better.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the running order I'm going to use is we're going to go Ida, Gail, Patty, Patty with a Y.
Okay.
And then Patty with an I, and then Amira, and then Brenda will be last. Okay, so once everyone's done setting up and back, I'll have you get your dog, Ida.
My dog will probably get drawn to the objects. I should put more objects in that corner, otherwise my dog will just run to that stool maybe.
Come a little closer to the mic so I can hear you better, but I think I got the gist of what you're saying.
Can you see?
How about this? Put the odor not on an object. Do you have any putty?
Yes, I probably do, yeah.
Okay, I just want you to adhese it to the wall in the corner with no object. Especially the way you mentioned bringing other objects out, and you've mentioned objects a few times now. That leads me to think maybe object orientation might be a thing, and this might be an interesting thing to test.
It's more about the fact that my power just came back on and I didn't have any straws ready.
Okay, get that.
I'll get right on that.
No problem.
Get that.
Awesome. Okay, so I am going to now spotlight Ida's camera, and once she gets back, we'll go watch her dog and see how it works. I really love sitting on the hide for my dog.
Can you tell can you see all the way down to the corner, or is the phone not close enough?
Let me double check.
Okay. I'll walk down to where the hide is.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be able to see it. You're going to be, where are you going to be sitting?
I figured off to the side over here.
Okay, and you can see the hide from there?
Yes.
Then you're good.
Can you see me? We're good?
Yes. Yeah, we'll be able to see if you anticipate at all.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, so I'm spotlighting Ida's video again. And Ida, whenever you're ready, go ahead and begin. Sit in the chair before you let the dog go. Yep, good. Notice already the slight swivel to the left, which is the corner the hide's in. I'm not saying you're doing this on purpose to help your dog. I'm just saying these small little things are completely subconscious. There, you guys think he's in odor?
Yes.
Good.
Mhm.
Good. So now, he's in odor. Why isn't he pushing into the corner?
We haven't done that many.
Okay, we haven't done that many corner hides. Okay. Well, but it's a hide. A hide is a hide. Why shouldn't he just go straight to the corner? Anybody?
Going out.
The way the odor's moving out.
Yeah, the way the odor's moving. So it's just a difficult hide, maybe? Nice. Good dog. Okay. Do you guys think that if the dog were on leash and the handler moving with the dog, or off leash with the handler moving with the dog, do you think the dog would have had an easier time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So does
More
the dog find it
information.
easier because suddenly the hide becomes easier? I think a lot of times we think hides like this are easy. We would set them and we think they're easy because we're helping them find it. And especially as you get more and more advanced, people say, oh, well, that hide, that kind of thing is too easy for my dog. It's like, no, your dogs are just that much better at reading you to tell you so that they figure out where the hide is from you, right?
All right.
And if I take all that away from the dog suddenly doesn't have that anymore. Anyways, so now we're going to switch to Gail. And
Okay,
Gail,
Michael, I'm going to shut my garage doors. It'll make some noise, but I'd like to be able to work them off leash.
yeah, perfect. I agree.
Okay.
Go for it. Everyone get ready for the nasty, loud crunch of her garage door. Actually, I could mute her video if I was nice.
Is it noisy?
No, actually, I don't hear it at all.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, good. Okay.
Wow, you have the quietest garage door. Oh, you know why? It's because we're using your headphone mics.
I am using my headphone mic, yes.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay, wait.
Another reason to have wireless headphones.
Wait.
One day, maybe when I'm allowed to go out and buy non-essential things. Although this is essential.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, can you see me if I sit in this chair?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
And before you let your dog go, which corner did you put the hide in? I wasn't watching everyone.
It's in the chair
Perfect.
back there.
Okay, no problem.
Find it.
Okay, and just like before, I want you guys to all tell me or something when you think the dog's caught the odor.
Alert.
Good.
Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, good boy.
Not a lot of time lag between catching odor and sourcing odor, right?
No.
Now, did the dog catch the odor coming into the door?
Possibly.
It's possible. How many of us were watching?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I really think being a good nosework handler and being a good nosework trainer is being more aware at more times, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, what I want to do for your dog, for Ida, let me just say this. For Ida, your next round, we're going to do 2 corners, and we're going to just kind of do the same. That was enough of a challenge that all we need to do is expose the dog to that more. For Gail's dog, that was not too much of a challenge. So what I want to start doing is setting hides that are going to be kind of mind benders. So instead of under the seat of the chair, off to the side, on some kind of, you got lots of cloth in there, hanging from some cloth, something that's the dog isn't 100% expecting, something that may toy with the dog a little bit.
Okay.
And
Still
we will
just
go.
one hide?
Yeah. Oh no,
Nope.
you can do 2 as well. That's fine.
Okay.
In fact, you could do 3, judging by how easily the dog worked that out. So now, Patty Sontag.
Okay. So I'm choosing to work on my screened-in porch,
Awesome.
which will be meaning that there'll be a lot of air movement here. So
That's great.
find it.
And is the hide in the broom corner?
It's in the broom corner. It's on the door frame.
Awesome. And it's really important to periodically, if you're not in the habit of doing searches like this, where you just sit there and do nothing, not accidentally deluding yourself about what you think the dog is thinking or the way they search. Beautiful, nice.
Boy,
And
nice
I was
job.
watching pretty closely. I didn't see too much anticipation. I felt some intensity building, but I didn't see any anticipation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy. Yay.
Yeah, so it's really important to see, like, how is this matching up to when I'm handling the dog? Because when I'm handling the dog, my goal in my handling is to give the dog more freedom. So the dog shouldn't be getting it faster if I'm handling it, and the dog shouldn't be getting it slower if I'm handling it. The dog should be doing it exactly the same. Okay, so now Patty Campbell.
Yeah, in that corner, I'm going to sit on a stool.
Awesome.
And you see some jump bars in the corner and a vacuum cleaner, and it's on the vacuum cleaner.
Awesome.
Get Gingy. Ginge, come on. Right.
And yeah. Actually, what I think I want Gail and Patty to do, now that I'm thinking about it, is I probably want you to set it on the flat of a wall instead of a corner. Because it may be that your dogs just have had so much experience with corners that this is like a no-brainer for them.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Good girl.
Nice. Hey, you guys are really good at controlling your anticipations.
Good girly girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Okay.
Very nicely done.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I think I know. Does everyone have putty? I hope so. So let's get to Amira. Let me switch your camera. Which camera should I use? The one you're sitting next to?
The one I'm sitting next. Yeah, the one I'm sitting next to. It's going to be in that deep little alcove area, in the corner, on the wall in the corner, on the side where the door handle is.
Awesome.
You can have a better chance of seeing him.
Good.
All right.
We're ready.
Wait.
What we're doing.
So funny.
Just be patient. Just wait.
Cat bomb.
Yeah. The cat's like, I'll do it.
He'll eventually get bored and move on.
Exactly. And the important thing is, and I see this a lot, I'm not saying you did this, but I'm just saying this as something I see a lot, is you wait for all this independence, and then finally the dog moves, and they move the wrong direction. And so then we get frustrated. Why did the dog move that way? And that energy just completely deflates the dog from being ever independent. Because like, as soon as I make a move, they're mad at which move I made, you know? So make sure that any independence is great for us.
Okay.
It's wonderful engagement. I can see you've been working on obedience a lot.
A little.
So is the idea not to give them a cue?
Well, I mean,
Did you hear it?
he's wearing a harness and a collar, which I assume are for nose work. So
Yeah.
how much more of a cue does he need? And also there's odor present in the environment, which he's not dumb. He could smell it, you know?
That was a question I had. Should I have put her nose work harness on, which I didn't do?
Probably.
Okay, I'm good. Yeah.
It's like, so here's the thing about putting the collar and harness on. It's not required for a dog to find odor. No dog has ever needed a harness to find odor. But developing these cues that teach the dog when they're supposed to be doing nose work and when they're not, that is very useful.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, that's another important thing to recognize. It could be that the harness is not a clear cue that he's doing nose work. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So let me ask you this. When do you normally put his nose work collar on? Or harness, whichever.
Leaving as soon as he leaves the crate to go towards a search area.
Okay, so then it should be a fairly clear association. But it looks like
yeah.
he's kind of searching now.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait.
I've never done something like this with him though, where I just sat here and waited for him. I've stood and waited for him to go do stuff.
Oh, great. Perfect.
So he's off searching. He's actually looking for odor now. I can tell that.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to turn my head yet.
I think in some ways you're just at a disadvantage to some of the other people you've seen because they've already done these drills before.
Yeah.
And some of them have done this drill with me before. So they know this. This is like a standard drill that I do in my classes. Mostly because I tell my handlers stand still all the time and they cannot do it for the life of them. So I
hard.
finally just say, sit in the chair. And that seems to work.
He's actively searching, and he's actively searching within a radius of me.
Yeah.
Fascinating to me.
Would you like to join my nose work class?
So we're learning a couple things about his independence. One, that it took him a while to take the initiative. Okay, that's fine. And then on top of that, he has a very particular bubble about how far he's willing to go before he turns back. But it looks like he's broken that bubble for the first time now. Go. I don't care. Go. Yeah. Pay him at the source. Okay. Because what are we reinforcing right now? We're reinforcing the breaking of that bubble and moving out away from. I don't want him to go, it was just a pointless dead end and come back. Right.
Good boy. What a boy.
And it feels like an eternity. I wish I had timed that because it probably was like 2 minutes or something, right? It wasn't that long. But it feels like an eternity when you're waiting for it, but it's worth every second. I guarantee you it's worth it.
Good boy. I'm very proud of you. Good job.
Okay. It's Brenda's turn.
All right.
Boy.
Hopefully that's a good view.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
And we weren't pairing, right?
You could always pair. I believe in pairing 100% of the time with every dog. So you will find it hard to find an opportunity for me to say no to pairing.
Okay, I'm gonna pair it. She's a bit weirded out by all this.
About what?
She just weirded out lying there in the crate with Clear in the room when there's odor.
Okay, make sure not to let her go until you sit in the chair. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Good. It's a way, it accidentally helps the dog because we give them a momentum boost and then sit down rather than dropping all that momentum and forcing the dog to take all of the initiative. Oh, that's a big anticipation.
Yep.
Yay, good dog. Thank you. She was the last person, so she knew I have to demo what it looks like to anticipate.
Yeah,
so that was
exactly.
very
That must have
generous
been
of you, Brandon. Thank you.
Good girl. Come on. I think I was thinking she was acting with her tail down, so I thought I better reward her a little, like meet her at the hide. My brain was sort of thinking that.
Okay. I don't think she was in as much distress.
No, just compared to normal, she's very outgoing.
Sure.
So she was being a bit weird. So I guess that was my first impulse, which might not have been a good one, right?
I think in general, the impulse to help a dog and make it easier is in general a good one. As long as we have that opposite force saying, hey, your dog can handle it, let's push them, let's go further. As long as you have both forces acting and your goal is to make your dog the best and seek out their highest form of welfare, then we're good.
Okay. So I should have, if I hadn't moved, it would have been more interesting to see what happened. But
I think she would have found it and developed some more self-confidence. Sounds like she started a blender, but she's just dragging her patio chair. Okay, so anybody have any questions about the first exercise? I wanted to do that to make sure that everyone could do it.
It was fascinating to me how long it took for him to first take the initiative and start looking for anything, and then how long it took him to leave the bubble at all. And it just told me that obviously there is a hole somewhere in his independence, which is something we're still building.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how little I actually work in this, I don't know, at home in general, but especially inside at home. I do a lot of exterior and vehicle hides at home.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same way. I almost never work in my own living room unless it's obedience. You know, I do obedience in my living room.
That's what I do here.
Yeah. And so I would have the same issue if I sat in a chair in my living room. It would take a while for my dog to realize that that's not what we're doing. Anybody else?
No. No. All good.
Go get him.
Okay, and wait, so you set your hides already, Aida?
There's one where it was before.
Okay. Let's move it so it's not exactly where it was before. It should be somewhere slightly different. Maybe on the wall, if you can stick it to the wall. Yeah, and so everyone else can now take their time to set their new hides. Amira, what I want you to do is set something slightly closer. Okay, but same general idea. I want you sitting down, building independence, and something along a wall. Okay, we're still building patterns. So I'm still trying to highlight the areas to the dog that are important from an odor perspective, right? So those are corners, thresholds. So doorways, entryways, windows are important, walls are important. Those are all places that odor's likely to collect in a search, that a dog's very likely to miss it. So you can grab 2 or 3 hides. Don't go crazy. You can pair them if you want. If you're setting multiple hides, remember, you're going to sit in the chair, let the dog go. The dog finds hide number 1. You go, you reinforce them, you pick up the hide, put it in your pocket, sit back in the chair, let them find the next hide. Okay? So we're not going to leave the hide back down and expect them to leave the hide independently without the handler doing anything.
Okay.
So, Michael, do we leave the first hide where it is, or we're setting totally new hide?
You can leave the first hide in the same area, but adjust it slightly. Move it 3-4 inches in some direction.
Okay.
Okay, everyone's setting their hides.
Yeah, did you have anything in particular for me? Just the same thing, add a couple more hides and move the hide I had?
Yeah, you can. The other thing you can do is add distance. So move your chair further away to see if that, so your dog was acting a little insecure. What do you think was the main reason?
I think just because it was an abnormal setup for her to wait in a crate in the room, and she had her harness on, which I normally only put on as well before the start line, but not while she's waiting.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a context thing for her, which was a bit strange, which is fine, right? It's good.
Well, it's not just fine. It's great because honestly, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's like, what does trial prep mean? Trial prep means getting the dog used to new contexts, right? It's very hard to do at home. And for me, like competition prep for my dogs, what is that? Teaching a dog how to potty on command in a new location. That's like high on my list. What? Teaching the dog to crate and be comfortable in a crate in new locations. So if you're able to generate that at home and get over it at home, wow, you're like, it's way easier than the rest of us who figure out we have a problem after we've left home.
Right, exactly. No, that makes sense. You don't want any I guess convergence doesn't matter so much as you want the pattern like along the wall, that kind
Yeah.
of thing, right?
Yeah, I don't care about converging odor.
Okay.
I actually don't believe there is such a thing as converging odor, but that's another issue for another time.
Ow.
Michael, I'm here.
Okay, so we're gonna all switch to Ida. Hopefully everyone's done roughly setting their hides. Okay, Ida, before you let your dog go, tell us where you set the hides.
Okay, so where it was before, but up on the wall,
Okay?
and then along the wall on the small wheel of the cart, in the
Awesome.
other opposite corner.
Thank you. So interestingly enough, you'd expect on round 2 the dog to go right back to where the hide was last
Yes.
time, right? In fact, that's what we're usually expecting when we're doing pattern training, is that the dog remembers where hides were and then returns to those areas. That's what a pattern is. But it looks like that's not the case with your dog. Your dog is much more interested in hunting new locations, which is great. Yeah, beautiful. Nicely done. Okay, go sit in your chair. And one thing I want you looking, if you set multiple hides, one thing I want you looking at is how does the dog leave the first hide? When you pick it up and sit in the chair, does the dog, A, just keep hunting? Okay. B, does the dog follow you back to the chair and then keep hunting? Or C, does the dog think they're done with their search and go, like ready to leave, either following you or going to the door? And then lastly, which one of those do you want?
Right.
Good boy.
Very nice. Wow, deep against that wall. Love it.
Profitable short dog. Yay.
Good. So now, that wasn't a very linear search, right? The dog didn't go straight to where they remember there being a hide and then straight to the next wall along the wall. The dog seems to definitely think the center space of the room is high priority with how much zigzagging he does through it, right?
Yeah.
So what I want you to do for your next round is you're going to set 3 hides. One starting in that corner again, somewhere slightly different. Then one slightly in the same area where your second hide was, and then one against the wall halfway between the two. So we've got tons of hides on that back wall. I want that dog to become obsessed with that back wall, okay? Okay, we're going to switch to Gail. And by the way, Patty Sontag, I've muted your mic because you were dragging chairs around. So when you're ready to be unmuted, just post in the chat or raise your hand and I'll know. Okay,
Okay,
Gail.
so I have 3 hides, one on the wall there,
Okay,
and one on the lid of the garbage can,
awesome.
and then one on my twist a step.
Awesome.
Okay, all right.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
Good boy. Wait. Okay, Cajun. Find it. Oh, good man.
Nice.
Look at you. Good boy. That's a very good boy. Look at you. Good boy. Okay, find it. Another.
Go sit down. Yep. Yeah, I like that. He did a perfect
Good
pattern
boy.
until he caught the odor. And then it was like a straight line from the left side of the room to the odor,
Good
right?
boy.
Remember,
Good boy.
breaking the pattern is part of the
boy.
pattern, right?
Okay, another.
And then returns to the pattern where he left it off. I don't think he was following her back since he was back there before she even got there. Yeah, there was a small acknowledgement there.
was clearly working odor there.
He is absolutely, I think he's still working odor.
Yeah. Good boy.
Nice.
Oh, what a sweetie. What a good boy. Look at you. Look at you. Good boy. Look at that.
Very nicely done.
Good boy. All right, that was fun.
Okay, so what I want you to do for your next round, Gail, is I want you to leave the room blank with no odor. Have an odor in your pocket, though. And so after he's searched for a moment or two, we'll judge. I want to look at what area he's not checked, and we're going to place the hide there very nonchalantly while he's working.
Okay, that's cool.
Cool.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
Okay, so Patty Sontag, I'm spotlighting you.
Okay.
And you're unmuted.
All right. So
That was very good boy.
can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. So I've got one hide right here, really low, and there's a piece of plexiglass right behind this. So it's sort of blocking any wind that would come that way.
Awesome.
And the other one I have moved, it's a little higher, and it's right here.
And you're sitting.
I'm going to sit right here. I want to
Awesome.
move this as far back as I can. Can you still see me if I sit here?
Yeah, no, you're perfect. That's great.
Okay, good.
This is one of my favorite exercises to do on vehicles. And eventually we have a dog doing a full vehicle search on their own with no handler.
Ah,
Cool.
love it.
Fun.
All right. Find it.
This was absolutely a great decision. I learned a lot.
Good. I'm glad you're learning a lot. Good.
Good boy. Yeah.
So now, did he have trouble with the converging?
I don't think so.
Do you think he noticed the converging?
I'm not sure because I think the wind is again. I don't know. It's coming from the brown tin to the white tin.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that there is some converging there.
Yeah. To me, it looked like a dog working a single hide, personally.
Hmm.
Yes, I agree.
Good. I also think that it's very easy to fall into this kind of confirmation bias where you expect a converging problem. So guess what? You see a converging problem.
Right. Good boy. Nice job.
I mean, that's basically what I just did. I'm like, yeah, that's totally convergence. Oh, wait, no, I don't think it is actually.
Right. Like, what would have happened if I had taken that video clip just until he found that first hide, right? And sent it to you and said, what do you see here?
Oh, he's bracketing.
Would you have said converging, or would you said, oh, he sourced the one hide?
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Buddy, it's almost your turn.
Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying watching, Brenda. I really think auditing these things are really good. Okay, so Patty, for your next run, I want to also do the same thing that Gail's doing. So I want you to set a blank search. We're going to let him search for a little bit. We're going to see what areas he doesn't search. Does he not search high? Does he not search low? Does he not search the broom corner? What areas is he not searching? There's one area that both of these searches, I feel like he didn't spend any time searching. Does anybody know what it was?
Near the handler?
Correct. So probably what I'll have you do is just set a hide underneath your chair after you send him to go search.
Okay.
Okay, so Patty Campbell.
Okay, so I've got the first one is close to where it was before, along the door.
Awesome.
And the second one is stuck on the wall on the side of the chair.
Nice.
Oh, she's sitting outside the door waiting to come in. Okay, ready?
Did you say something really embarrassing, Holly? That was really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Now, does that count as cataloging?
Could be. I don't
Could be.
know.
I don't know. It's very funny to me how cataloging is almost a slur.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, good girl.
Nice. Beautiful. I'm very impressed that you didn't anticipate at all. I anticipated and I'm just sitting here.
I'll do it. Okay.
I love how he investigated the area before leaving. That's what makes a good dog for working close converging at elite, is a dog who is thoughtful about leaving an area and doesn't just run off to find the next hide.
He's heavily sniffing.
Yeah, and in that corner, right?
Yeah.
This illustrates why corners are so important. It's not just because hides get lost in corners, which they do. It's because all the hides in a room will collect in that corner. And that corner will contain tons of information. And the dog needs to learn how to use that information and then move out of the corner when necessary. And that's another problem when you've been taught push your dog into corners. Well, what happens when you trap your dog in that corner now, right? This is the exact kind of hide that we get a false alert on, because we push the dog into that corner, trap him in it. When the dog tries to leave, we don't let him, and then they false. Which is not a false, really, it's a fringe, right? Oh, that's funny.
I think it's interesting she didn't pick up that one on the wall there.
Yeah.
She's detailing everything else in the room now.
Yeah, yes. It's always interesting what hides the dogs doesn't find. And it's not usually something we can guess. That's why I like doing pattern searches, is because I'm not setting hides that I just want to set because I like them. I'm going systematically down a wall along this thing. So I end up setting hides very, very evenly. And I find these areas where for some reason my dog can't find it. How do I find it? Because I was setting a hide on a pattern instead of setting just what interested me.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on. That's a good boy.
There's this interesting little dead spot there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. And ping-ponging between the objects, it seems, right?
Yeah.
So what I want you to do for your next round, I already know, is I want you to set hides near objects, but about that far away from the object.
Okay.
Because that's my suspicion, is that's what's happening, is that it's the proximity to an object without being on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, good
There you
girl.
go. Very
There you
nice.
go. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl, girl. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Okay, good job. Good girl. Hold on. Okay.
Very well done.
Near an object, but not on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to Amira 1.
Okay, so I have 2 hides. One is right over here.
Okay.
On this flip, so it's kind of closer, but still in the realm of that first problem.
Yep.
And the second is on the wall in between the sliding door and the cat tray over here.
Okay.
And I think where my chair is, I can see both without much issue.
Yeah, look how much quicker he left.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you just tell me we're doing nose work, Mom? Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. Worth every second to wait. Good. Good job not taking him back to the chair. Now he ends up coming back to the chair to greet you. That's fine. Now, obviously, for me, ideally, I have a dog who just keeps hunting without asking kind of permission. Nice.
Meant to get up half a second sooner. Good boy. What a boy.
That was awesome.
Good boy.
Okay, so for your next round, all I want you doing is 2 new corners, 2 different corners,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there. Okay, Brenda, let me switch to your camera.
Okay.
Okay, so where did you set the odors?
Okay, first of all, I just want to see, is this a good view? So let me know. I've got one hide here.
Awesome.
I've got one hide across from where it was, so it's here now.
Okay, and you're
As
sitting.
opposed to there. And I do have a third hide here, and I didn't know if I should keep with having 3, if that's too many.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
And because of having 3 and adding a difficulty like that, I kept my chair not as far away. Do you think I should move further? Yeah?
No,
Okay.
I actually, well, and keep in mind, you've added a type of difficulty. The type of difficulty is the complexity of the odor problem, but you've removed another kind of difficulty, which is the actual complexity of the odor problem will distract your dog from you.
Yeah.
Whereas if it were a blank, that would be the kind of difficulty where you don't want to be as far because there's nothing to distract him from the fact that you're far. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So this is fine. No, you can stay there, but I just want to point out that not everything, there's like multiple different kinds of difficulties. And sometimes you increase one difficulty at the expense of another type of difficulty.
That's very interesting. Thanks. That's a really good point. Okay.
Go get him.
Come on, Marlo. Come on.
Nice.
Good girl. Nice
Nice job.
job. So I'm picking them up, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And sit back in the chair. And then we're seeing what the dog does when you sit back down.
Oh, did you find that one? Nice job.
If you want the dog to not return with you to the chair and keep hunting, this is how you do that. Just set a bunch of hides out there close by. So every time you go to the chair, the dog's like, but there's one right here. Oh, and then there's one right here.
Going to where the old one was a little bit. Oh, look at you. Did you
Good
find
job.
that? Nice job. Nice job. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
Okay, let's see. What do I want for your next round?
Good girl. Here, come on.
Yeah, I think what I want for your next round is this long wall from your door to that little stool. I want to hide on it, just on it, stuck to it, somewhere in the middle. Okay?
Okay.
And then somewhere else like that, just in no man's land. Maybe just on the floor in the middle of nowhere. In fact, right here in front of the camera on the edge of the carpet where the carpet meets the other floor. Yeah.
Sort of in this area?
Yep, right there.
Okay.
Okay, those are the 2 hides I want you setting. So now we're going to switch back and go back to Ida.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we run through the dogs again? This will be the last wave of dogs. Okay, you want to tilt us down a little bit? Perfect. Okay.
That's 3.
Yep. He's like, where should I go? Directly away from the wall. It's very much a dachshund style. They're very stubborn, as it's called. Yay, good dog. Good. Feed, pick it up, sit back down. Okay. He follows you. That's fine. It'll be interesting to see if you practice this, if you can get to the point where the dog doesn't follow you and just keeps hunting.
Yeah.
Nice. Definitely a much more concentrated search along that wall, right? Oh, and he didn't follow her at all that time. What? Oh, you anticipated and you ruined it. Oh, no.
Actually gotten to it yet, or not. I wasn't looking.
Nice. Wow, what a great example. Now that was a linear search along that back wall, right? Now we're starting to plant the seeds in his head about walls are valuable, walls are productive. And we need to go do this on as many new walls as we can find until he starts thinking, man, these walls and other people's houses and things are just the best. Okay, any questions? Okay, then we'll move on to Gail.
Okay, I'll go get him. I'll have one hide on me.
Awesome.
This way. This way. Okay, let's go. Yep, let's go. Can I just let him loose at the door here, Michael?
If you'd like.
Find it.
If your dog has an independence issue, I'd rather you didn't do that. But because this dog hasn't shown any independence issues, that's fine.
I think he smelled the tin going into my pocket.
Okay, everyone's keeping track of where he searched and where he hasn't searched, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the last place he had needed to search. Go ahead and let's do the same thing that we were going to have Patty do. So go ahead. While he's off in the distance sniffing, stick it to your chair. Oh, you can't wear a winter jacket. You can't put it in the winter jacket pocket. Okay, so just.
I guess not. All right, all right. Well, that would have been a fun training if he hadn't seen my hand go in the pocket.
And it's very easy to set this up on your own. So yeah, just next time, make sure that it's in a pocket that's more silent.
Right.
But in a blank search, he covered that area very thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
He did a very nice, thorough pattern search. That's exactly what I would like to see in a dog like this. Okay, let's see what Patty Sontag has set up.
All right. Oh, there I go, dragging the chair again.
Someone's dog is very excited.
Yeah, my dog's upstairs.
All right, come on out. There we go. 1 second. 1 second, buddy. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, find it.
Okay, go ahead and start setting that hide on your chair.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you go?
He went back in the house. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You might as well set the hide on the chair while he's gone.
Sure.
There you go. Unless there's something he can get into.
Oh, no.
Okay. He's like, you're crazy. Why are we outside?
Yeah. Catcher, where are you?
Well, certainly not a confidence issue of pushing in tight spaces.
True.
Who thinks he's caught it?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
I agree. Yeah, I thought this was going to be a challenging one for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
Yeah, I can see.
And again, this is a great one for you guys to play when class is over, tomorrow, the next day, whatever. Set this one up. It's fun. It's a great way to add a blank search to your regular searching anyways, because people are so hesitant to add blank searches to their searching. But when you do it like this and you trick your dog, it's kind of becomes fun.
I didn't see the first search. Was it blank?
Well, I mean, there was no odor out until she put one on her chair.
Oh, I wasn't here. I was down in the car with. I didn't see her first search.
This is her first search, but yeah, she didn't set odor out until the dog started searching.
Okay.
There, yay, good dog.
Yeah, good boy.
And
This was a
again,
hard one
I
for
will
you.
be posting to a private private or unlisted YouTube video. I'll send this class to you guys so that you guys will have access to it.
Good boy.
Thank you.
This was hard for him.
Wonderful.
It is.
Kind of, yeah.
I wish I hadn't put my hand in the pocket. That looked like a fun search.
Oh, don't worry. You will be able to do it again. I promise you.
Okay, on mine, it's, there's a little stool on the wall. I don't know if
Yep.
you can see it. There's a little stool on the wall
Yes.
next to the door. And
Okay.
it's,
I want you to change it slightly because the
Okay.
door frame
yeah,
is an object in its own right.
okay, so put it on the wall.
Yeah, just like it was on the chair, just on the wall, off by a couple inches. Above that little stool is fine.
Was like here?
That'll work. Okay, I'm really interested to see what happens now, especially because now we have a strong pool of odor collected onto
Yeah.
that door frame, which is, I love doing this exact kind of residual odor drill. I think this is super important to do.
Okay, and then the other one is down low
I see it.
next to the grooming table.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, go sniffy sniff. Are you ready to go sniffy sniff? Ready? Go sniffy sniff. Come on. Okay. Find it.
This dog patterns really quickly.
Yeah.
He remembers exactly where every hide was.
She does.
Which that's something to take into account when you're doing pattern training, is how quickly
Good
a dog patterns. Good
girl.
dog.
Good girl.
You actually have to train a dog different. The dog like this versus the other end of the spectrum, which is a dog like Ida's dog,
Find it.
the dachshund,
Nope, I gotta take this
who doesn't pattern as quickly. You treat them differently. Don't do the same pattern drills with them. I used to tell my students that pattern training was letting the dog pick the hides. And I still really believe that, that you have to let the dog tell you which hides to set. And if you're doing it right, every dog gets different hides.
girl.
Good dog.
Good girl.
Very nice.
Yay.
So, Michael, what would be different between these two in terms of training?
Yeah, well, one thing is that your dog will be a little more forgiving. you can do a lot more wrong with your dog before you see an effect. Whereas this dog, if you do something wrong 1 or 2 times,
Yeah.
it's done. You've done it already.
Oh my God. Thank goodness. Yeah.
Okay, Amira.
I'm gonna move this a little bit. So the very first high that I set is actually right under this desk against the wood base of the sliding door. So
Okay.
it's like right there.
Ah, perfect. Oh,
Okay,
that's a
Gigi.
fancy hide. Okay.
Second is right over here on the wall.
Okay. So for those of you who want to use bigger or more complicated search areas, you can do a multi-camera setup like Amira has. And all she's using is her laptop and her phone, so that we have 2 different angles on her living room. And I will do my best to switch between the angles as necessary.
Oh, am I in the way here?
You're good.
Come here. Ready?
Hi.
So she's logged into 2 different devices, I guess, huh?
Yeah. You just click the same link from each device. Good dog. Very nice.
Good boy. Good boy. That was really cool. Good boy. Good boy. I almost forgot where I put the second one.
Well, it's good. That lets me know that it'll be easy to set blind searches for you.
Oh, yeah.
I just let you set the hide and then let you sit for 5-10 minutes.
I felt some determination from him. Not finding anything else in this little area of the room.
Mm-hmm.
He has zero expectation to find anything in that corner.
Oh, I love it.
Well, now that he knows what he's doing, he clearly has no issue with corners and digging deep into things.
No, not at all.
Oh, there's an idea. I can hide it in the blanket on that chair next time. Almost think his brain is melting out of his head.
It is really interesting how he's prioritizing that side so much more. I went, man, your cats are just having a blast.
Well, they're kind of closed, locked out of their sanctuary right now, so sucks to be them, I guess.
I wonder if the window, the big door, the sliding door, is generating enough heat to have produced a lot of odor in that space for quickly. And that's why he's spending so much air.
It's cold and dreary out there, but it's warm in this room, so who knows what it's doing.
When all of this is just a guess. So it could be that it's the opposite. Maybe it's the fact that it's colder is keeping the odor there or something. I don't know.
I just can't wait for the light bulb moment where he actually goes to search that corner.
No.
It's like he understands English. He's definitely caught it, lost it. Really wants to get into that corner. I didn't put it in the bin, buddy.
To answer Holly's question, yes, the handlers have been instructed to pick up hide 1, or every hide as the dog finds them, and not ask the dog to leave independently. I actually don't believe it's possible to teach a dog to do a complete and thorough pattern if the handler is doing it for the dog. So this is a great example where this is exactly what he needs, is like he's omitted this part of the search area, and he'll learn, oh, I should have checked there a little earlier in the search. And so he'll start to make his own search pattern more thorough, more efficient, all on his own. It makes your job so much easier as a handler. That hide is really going up. It must be quite warm in your house.
Yeah.
Nice.
What a good boy.
That was nice.
Yeah, so what a great example about what I was saying earlier about windows being important because they suck odor, right? Man, he wanted to work that back window so bad.
Good boy. What an excellent dog. What an excellent dog.
Nicely done.
Good dog. Yeah. Good boy.
Okay, Brenda.
All right.
Good boy. Dog.
Okay, so I got one hide here,
Okay,
and then the other hide is where you said, right here.
perfect.
And I left everything the same, so there's still probably some residual because there's little bits of glue dot still on a couple places, so
Sounds
that I
good.
couldn't scrape off. Yeah. Come on.
Glue dots are amazing. They stick to things really well and they will never come off. So use with caution.
The one I had on the purple wall, I thought was going to take some of the paint off with it because it was a glue dot rather than putty.
Mm-hmm. Although we use Quake Hold, museum putty, and that's taken the paint off of our car.
Oh, really?
So interesting.
On a hot, well, we were in California, so on a hot day, yeah.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Florida, so I'll remember that.
Doing some cool things in here.
Definitely another strong patterner, which is very interesting because so far my dog Catfish has not been strong at patterning. Good.
Nice job. Nice job.
And it could be the age difference.
Yeah, we've worked on it. She's pretty experienced.
Yeah, I definitely think he's still in his very most immature phase. So.
They're outward focused dogs, so they're pretty good at patterning once they get the idea because it benefits them.
That's true. That's true. I guess what I should say is he struggles detailing. He just wants to cover large amounts of space. And it's like, well, I kind of want you to cover a very small amount of space really well.
She used to do that too.
Yeah.
It was just developmental for her.
Yes.
So she's sort of stuck over there. Now she's starting to pick up this one.
I think this is something you should focus on more. It's just hides, not on object.
Yes.
Interesting, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with using objects instrumentally to teach a dog how to do a pattern, how to use their nose, how to search. But object orientation can become a real crutch later on. I don't think it's too much of a crutch yet, although we'll see. I think this hide is more difficult because it's partially obscured more than the fact that it's not an object.
Yes, that's right.
But still, even the one on the wall, the dog thought, oh, object, oh no, then another object, oh no, okay, there it is on the wall. So the wall was third guess, you know?
Yeah. Well, and she got over into the one on the ground there, but then she's now back over here dealing with maybe old odor from the other one, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
residual. And she used to have a lot of issues with this. I let her work it out, and she's worked it out well. So,
no anticipating, right?
yeah.
Well, and think about it, because we all heard it on the mic, that sound is a very sharp sound. That's like a clicker almost, right?
Oh, look what you found. Did you find that? Good girl.
Very nice.
Yeah, good girl. Look at that. What a good girl. Good job. Nice job. Good job. Okay, I know you have to leave it. Good girl.
Beautiful.
Good girl. Okay, that's awesome. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Good.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions about this exercise?
Could you just explain a little bit about your theory of patterning, what it is that you want the dog to do optimally?
Sure. I guess the way I should start it off by defining patterns, which some of you may not have ever heard my definition of patterns. Hopefully you have. I have on my website, you have, I know. So on my website and on Patreon, I have a video of patterns theory, which explains a lot of this. So basically a pattern is how a dog's search style changes through hide placement. Okay. So if I take a row of boxes in a room and I take 30 dogs from the shelter and let them loose in that room, what do? Not all at the same time, one at a time. So they go and they sniff the walls, they sniff people, they sniff the doors, maybe they pee in the room, who knows? Okay. But now I take 30 nose work elite dogs and put them in that same room with 8 boxes in a row. What do? You let them off leash. They go sniff all 8 boxes, right? Their behavior is completely different than the shelter dogs. Why? Because we've set hides in a particular way that have taught the dogs boxes are highly productive. So my idea of patterning, and it's less about what I want the dog to do. It's more about what I want the trainer to be aware of. I want you to be aware that every single time you set a hide, you are changing your dog's future searches, right? And that if you're not aware of that, you could be screwing yourself up down the line because you don't notice it after 1 or 2 hides. It's after 3 years of setting those kinds of hides, hundreds and hundreds of hides, you've created a massive problem that's hard to fix now. So now then, from there, we can say, well, where do we want the dog search? And that's the thing is, it's personal preference. It's, for me, I have ideas of what I think is important to search based on all my trial history and all the dogs I've run. So I think corners are important. I think thresholds are important. I think elevation is not very important. So I have all these ideas about what I think the dog should pay attention to that are based on my own personal experience. But you can take my word for it. But I think it's more important to go out there and get the experience yourself. Watch trials, volunteer, spectate. And look at what types of problems dogs are struggling with and why, and how can I set hides to make it so that my dog doesn't struggle with those types of hides.
Gotcha.
I just wondered, you mentioned about the difficulty when my exercise, I said I sat closer because there was 3 hides, and I just wondered if you could expand on that. You said something about the difference in the difficulties.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. That's a newer thought for me. I don't have something prepared.
Okay.
Whoa, that was a really interesting noise. So let's see. I guess it's like independence. The distance you are from your dog makes things more challenging, right?
Right.
Well, then why do people tell you crowding makes things more difficult?
Okay.
Which is it? Is it being close or being far? The answer is both.
Both.
Right?
Right.
So I can't crowd and be far at the same time. So I'm always picking and choosing which dimension to make things difficult in. So multiple hides makes things difficult. But if I set multiple hides, or for example, if I use a large odor bomb, that's another way to make a difficult problem. I can set a large odor bomb and the dog struggles to find it. But if I have a large odor bomb and then sit 100 feet back, that's actually easier for my dog than one Q-tip 100 feet back, because there's so much more odor calling the dog to it. Right? There are certain ways to combine challenges that make them harder. And sometimes these happen in trials, and we double, triple, quadruple stack challenges and without realizing it. So for example, an odor bomb is harder if you crowd.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Because I'm moving odor more, I'm pushing the dog out of the spaces they need to work. So I can actually make the dog's job easier by not crowding. And a single Q-tip is harder if I make the dog work it independently. Actually, with a single Q-tip odor, which is really weak and not escaping, by crowding and moving through that space, it actually makes it easier, because I can pull that odor out, I can make it so the dog catches the odor and then works it. And so that's actually advice that I've given my students. You know, if you know there's a hide out there and your dog's struggling to find it, go move through the search area and disturb the search area. My normal baseline advice is don't disturb the search area. But if that odor is obscured and not escaping, you can actually cheat and create air currents by moving yourself through the environment. And that can actually help the dog in certain competitive scenarios. So keep in mind that all of these different things can stack or remove challenge or add challenge. It makes it really complex.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I found that a really interesting comment. I hadn't thought of that like that before, and that's really excellent to start thinking that way.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I found interesting is watching you change for each dog. As instructors, we do that, but watching you completely change, you know, the search area for each dog. And like you said, the dog's choosing the hide placement, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
And really fun and dynamic, right?
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about curriculum setting. And man, it makes my job so much easier if I don't have to come up with searches and hides. If I let the dogs do it for me, oh my gosh.
That's exactly right. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to say really quick is that another good thing for me in this circumstance was that I was quite nervous of doing this kind of a lesson because I've never done this before. So my nervousness was definitely on my dog. So that here I am at home in my normal environment, and I made my dog act more like she could be in some new environment. And in fact, she's normally not even scared in a new environment. So I've never seen her this way before. So it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm constantly advocating, you know, for competition stress and how important it is. And there are lots of different ways you can do that on your own without having to go to the trials.
Yeah.
And this is one. Live stream your searches. Watch that stress build, just like you said. Man, you generated stress in your own living room that you don't even generate in a new environment, right?
Exactly. I was like going, what's wrong with me? And I realized, oh, my dog, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
And going off of what you just said, Brenda, and what you were saying, Michael, yes, I'm sitting here. Yes, I'm entertained and watching Flash and fascinated and everything. And in my mind, I'm comfortable and confident in what you are asking me to do. But I was sweating. I was flushed. My heart was a little racy. So, you know, all those stress signals that you can't mask and you can't hide, they were there, even though I was confident in what you were asking me to do.
Absolutely.
I think we're all more experienced in a class setting in person, and then this is different, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
This was really cool.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Doesn't this replicate the group class setting pretty well?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very impressed.
Absolutely.
But it also, when I asked you once, Michael, how do you train for trial pressure?
Yeah.
And you gave this as an example, and it's true. It's like people are watching you. You're being maybe judged. Your dog isn't maybe flattering you as a handler or a trainer. I don't know. There are all these thoughts that go through you that wouldn't if you were just doing it on your own.
It's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Any last questions before the end of class? Anything from auditors?
I do have
Just thank you. This was wonderful.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
one next.
We'll have more questions, I think, when we get more comfortable with the equipment and how it works and all
Sure.
that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I'm happy you recorded it because I'm sure with my nervousness trying to set my hides and that I missed stuff. So I'm really happy that it's recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Brenda Steely wants to. I'm gonna add words to what she said. That you're being judged in regular in-person classes too.
It's
Oh,
true.
thank you.
I think we're just
We're
used to
used to
that.
our
We're just used to that.
Yeah, they're not
We
judging.
know. Well, and we know the people usually in the class after a few times, right?
Yeah, that's true. And you don't know each other. That's true. You kind of jumped into it, and maybe some of you know each other, but most of you don't.
Yeah.
Well, and I have
Yeah,
one of my
great.
instructors here as well, who I see weekly and judges me and my other dog weekly. Hi, Patty. That was interesting to be a student with her.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
Neat. This has been really awesome.
Yes.
Get off Flash.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I will see you guys next time.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
bye-bye.
Michael.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.